Good morning YouTube, welcome back to my channel. Today's video we are back in the greenhouse again. It is November the 1st and I wanted to talk to you about some different orchids. Orchids that are going to need a dry winter rest this year. I'm just putting my coffee down there. It's about 8 a.m. We've had a rainy week here in British Columbia. Looks like it's going to be a bright day today. You can see the sun starting to come in a little bit in the greenhouse, so that's nice. What I was going to do today, talk to you a little bit about a saying that I live by, show you some orchids, and we'll go on our merry way. So there are certain orchids that need a dry winter rest, and some of those orchids, like this guy here, which is a nobly dendrobium, in order to flower, the dry winter rest is very important. So I have a saying, and it's not my saying, I go by it. Don't water certain orchids, the ones that need a dry winter rest. Don't water them from Halloween to Valentine's Day. So that is the little window there. That is where Halloween to Valentine's Day is where my greenhouse has the hardest time. The light is 10 hours a day or less. It gets down to 8.5 hours a day in the middle of winter. And things just tend to shut down a little bit. So these orchids that I'm going to show you, I don't water from Halloween to Valentine's Day. Now keep in mind, if you're doing the same thing, that doesn't necessarily mean stop all water in a totally dry house. These orchids in the wild would naturally get mist and dew in the morning, fog would roll in and out, but where they would naturally live, a lot of them are in the foothills of the Himalayas, some are not, but in the wintertime it is clear, cool, and bright. But with very little rain. The monsoon season is in the summertime, which is now past, where it's cloudy, hot, and rainy. So that's why in the summertime these guys can get water every day, but in the winter they like hardly any at all. So keep in mind that there's not zero water. It doesn't turn into a desert. Humidity is very high. If you see your orchids are really having a problem, give them a little spray. If canes start to really shrivel, give them a little spray. But otherwise don't worry about it. No deep soakings. So I want to start with this guy. This is a nobly dendrobium. Not the one I showed you in last week's video. Now this guy's still outside, but he's still going to start his dry winter rest. I wanted to show him to you because you can see on here this little silvery spots on the leaves. Hopefully you can see that okay. That is spider mite damage from being outside. Now this happened early in the summertime after they came out for the spring and went outside. Their nice lush leaves got covered in spider mites on this guy. Since has been cured, of course, it has been fine for months. But I just want to show you what spider mite damage looks like. It affects the bottom and the top of the leaves, and you can just see where they've actually like sucked the moisture out, and it almost turns like a silvery sort of pattern to it, and it's definitely dented in a little bit. Further damage would lead to brown spotting as well. To get rid of the spider mites, being this guy's pretty hardy orchid, all I did was give him a good hose off and then spray him with a soapy alcohol solution and give him another spray off a few consecutive days in a row, and the spider mites were gone. But Dendrobium nobilis, those are one orchid that does not need water anymore until the spring, till Valentine's Day. I have a few more on the table here, and then what we're going to do after I show you these few on the table, I'm showing you these ones, not this guy, but these other ones, because they're still outside too, just like that one. But this guy, since he's in my hand, we'll talk about him next. This is a Lycaste. They bloom in the spring. You can still see the old bloom spikes that were on this guy. He had 6 flowers or so. Pretty soon this guy is actually going to drop his leaves. It's part of his winter dormancy. And when these guys drop their leaves, when they start to go yellow, when you start to see the yellowing at the tips, they drop them quite fast. That is the time you want to stop watering. Now I find in the greenhouse here, everything is just kind of a little bit slower. I would expect these guys to be starting to go into winter dormancy soon. But realistically, I know from past experience, they don't drop their leaves until December. It's nice though, when they are dormant, at least they don't have these big leaves. All you have is these egg-shaped bulbs there. But keep them very dry. Again, if they start to shrivel, give them a little mist, but for the most part, no deep watering. Another thing on Lycastes, when they drop their leaves, they have very sharp spines on the top of the bulb. Sharp enough, they're like hard thorns. They will rip your skin, they will poke you, they will make you bleed even. So you have to be very careful with these guys because they do have sharp bits to them. I'll put him down here. The next one, everybody will know the next one. This is a Cymbidium. my Cymbidiums are still outside. They haven't come in for the winter yet. I keep them outside for as long as possible to give them as big a chill as possible. These guys don't want frost, but they love cool winter nights. So these guys are outside setting their spikes. I brought in this guy because he's a little one. He's easier to manage. And I imagine the next month or so they're going to be coming in. They live outside undercover, so I can control the water in the fall. Now, being that they're undercover, they're not going to get any more water, so they're just going to kind of dry up. Again, if they get too parched, a little bit of water doesn't hurt. You can see on these guys, I have bloom spikes starting already. There's one there. There's one there. So, one thing to make sure with these guys, depending on how the bloom spikes develop, if they develop quickly outside, before they start actually forming their buds, I need to put them inside the greenhouse here, because when the buds get to be a decent size on them, you know, when the stalk's high, you don't want to move them or they're going to bud blast. Up until that point, it's fine, but they're going to go on the floor here in the greenhouse in the next 30 days or so, probably before December. We should, I would think we'll be getting some frost in December. Hopefully not, but probably. So that's good. At least I have 2 spikes starting on this guy. And that's just the first ones. Maybe there'll be more. But no more water for this guy until Valentine's Day. I love Valentine's Day. It's a great holiday. My wife loves it as well, but not for the same reasons. For me, Valentine's Day is like the start of spring. I can start to water things again. The daylight hours get up enough that I can actually, the plants start growing and that. So this next one here, he's a big one. This is a Collagenea. Collagenea is another family of orchids, not as well known. They produce beautiful flowers, but they do need that winter rest. So again, they come from Himalayas. They will grow on rocks and tree stumps and stuff like that. Heavy mist in the mornings where they live, I'm told, and from what I read. The thing is, I do tons of reading on these guys just to make sure I have it just right. I spend a lot of time on the internet doing reading. So this guy has been heavily watered all year. He enjoyed the rains of the last little while as fall came in. His bulbs really plumped up. And being they're outside right now and just brought in, they're actually kind of dewy. But this guy is going to have no more water until Valentine's Day. You can already see the spikes starting to form on him. He's really heavy too. Let me see if I can find a spike here. Okay, I'll show you this one. It's not the biggest, but right there is the spike. So those will develop over the winter. They're going to be in bloom around March, just after I start watering them again. This guy's bulbs are going to shrivel. It's just the way they are. Right now, some of these bulbs, they're kind of egg-shaped. They will not be egg-shaped. They'll be kind of raisin-shaped. There's a few tattered leaves on there. They lose a few leaves too in the wintertime. But I'm going to sit him down. He's heavy. So those are some orchids that definitely are going to need a dry winter rest. Now, why don't we have a really quick tour? I'll just take the camera around and we will spot some other orchids in here that are going to need the same dry winter rest. Alright, so let's have a quick look through the orchids and see what else we need to stop watering for the year. Excuse the mess here, I've been working hard. A lot more of the greenhouse is bubble wrap now, as you can see, getting ready for winter. The little fireplace is actually on over there, the electric fireplace. Let's start up here. This is my Neophanita. It is moist right now, but it is going to have its dry winter rest starting soon. This is one that if the leaves start to droop, give it some water. Otherwise, don't give it much water from now until spring. In the cooler weather, another thing to note is they can rot a lot easier. So all the orchids need to be kept a lot more on the dry side this time of year. I water much less and in much smaller quantities than I would normally. So makes it easy on me. This is a group of orchids here that these cane type orchids, they are all going to need dry winter rest. We have got Dendrobium moschatum. There is a Periardii and an anosum. 3 different cane type orchids that are going to be deciduous. They're going to drop their leaves just like this, and after they drop their leaves, you'll start to see buds in the spring if you stop watering. If you continue to water, if they get too much water, they're actually just going to start to go into growth cycle again and continue to grow. So this guy's a big one. That's a nice cane. It goes all the way up this year, right up to the roof, and tiny little pot. Anyways, no more watering for that guy. Dendrobium Ki Annum. Now this is one that I slow down the watering on. I'm not quite so meticulous about not watering him. I do find I let him dry out, but his canes do wrinkle. And when his canes start to wrinkle, I give him a bit of a drink, just because at that point, the canes, they fluff back up very easily. You can see the big thick bulb there. That's a catasetum. It's going to drop its leaves soon as well, and it's going to go dormant. Here's another dendrobium here. You'll find a lot of them are dendrobiums that don't need water. This guy here is a Dendrobium sulcatum. And see, I even write on the tags in previous years, dry winter rest, just to remind me. Some dendrobiums need it, some dendrobiums don't need it. So, see if I can get that tag back in there. What else are we going to do? Let's see. Oncidiums, they need water throughout the year. They're going to need less of it. Cattleyas, like this guy here, they're going to need water throughout the year, although less of it. That might be about it. I see there, this guy with the yellowing leaves, that's another nobly type. So I'm sure I'm missing a few. They're just hidden in here. As I water each one, I kind of make that decision each and every time. Does this plant need water? And if it doesn't, I just pass by it. So let's go over this way for a second. Phalaenopsis dendrobiums. They need to be watered all year long, so they're different care. There's more Lycastes down there. They're not going to need any water. Masdevallias and Draculas, of course, they're going to need water all year long. Oh, there's some Phalaenopsis in bloom up here. A yellow one and a white one behind it. They're going to need water all year long. So you can see not all orchids need that dry winter rest. Just certain dendrobiums. Or just mainly dendrobiums. Let's see. There's the Chinese Cymbidiums back here. They are going to need a drier winter rest. Again, not bone dry. You don't want to be hard on them, but you don't want to pour water into them anymore. A few sprays with the mister once every few weeks to a month will be just fine for them. My slipper orchids up here, they're coming out in spikes and that. They are not going to need a dry winter rest. There is my Dendrobium Thursiflorum, I think it is up there. He will need a dry winter rest. No more water for him. There's the table with the other plants on. We've made pretty much a full circle now, so I think that's where I'm going to leave it. There is my Millennium Witchcraft there in spike. Once he drops his leaves, he was going to need a dry winter rest. And yeah, I think we'll leave it at that for now. So, I hope you enjoyed this video about orchids and dry winter rests. This Oncidium Dancing Lady doesn't need a dry winter rest. We just have to watch to make sure we don't overwater them to rot the bulbs in the winter. But anyways, yes, if you like this video and you want to see more videos like this, make sure you subscribe to my channel. And as always, thanks for watching.